Instagram is the younger of they're both owned by Meta. Instagram and Facebook are actually, they're owned by the same company, kind of like how a lot of chocolates are owned by the same company. So what's very interesting about Instagram is once you've created a Facebook page, you can go onto the Instagram login, which we have a link for that. And Tomas will be providing the login for the Instagram page. You can actually use your Facebook login to create an Instagram account. So it's pretty useful. Instagram more broadly is focused on sharing images. It's mostly about sharing, just pictures of your life, but it can also be used for sharing content, for creating a ruckus, and just for influencing people. And so let's move on firstly to creating. See, I skipped a slide there. Oh, I guess there isn't creating an account page. But anyway, you click on that link, and it's basically the same thing as Instagram. But if you already have a Facebook page, you can log in to Instagram with that Facebook page. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that while I'm talking about Instagram. Again, it skews younger, and a lot of the focus on Instagram is about the stories. So I talked about this briefly about Facebook. On Facebook, you can post stories, and stories are content that lasts less than 24 hours. But most people on Facebook just post whole long form posts like I was showing you. But on Instagram, it's almost completely the opposite. You save your main profile content for posting things about your life or your dog or your children, and you use the stories, the things that only last 24 hours, to share things like content on the Trump administration or Cash Patel, right? So you'll see people post things on Instagram, and it's maybe it was Cash Patel was just nominated, and they'll say something about his nomination. So let's talk briefly about how to create a post. And so what you'll see about this is on a phone. You can use Instagram on a laptop, but it's an order of magnitude more difficult. And I would definitely recommend you do it on a phone. I'll be showing you how to use it, but most people use it on a phone. It was made for a phone, and it was only created into a desktop thing when Facebook took it over. So this is how you create a post. You're going to see a screen that looks like this on your phone. And at the bottom, there's a little symbol, and you click that, and it'll ask you, do you want to create a post? Do you want to create a story? And if you click, I would like to create a story from your photos. This must be Hope's photos that she took recently. This is Hope here, and she created this presentation for us. So, you can share all sorts of things on there, and it's a little more complicated. So if you're not super comfortable with social media, I wouldn't recommend starting with Instagram, especially because it's a less effective way to connect with people. But I would still get involved if you can. And let's talk about, right. So once you open that and once you click your images, you click next. This is Hope here creating an actual post, right? This isn't Hope creating a story. And so every post on Instagram has to have an image, right? A post on Facebook, you don't have to have an image. You don't have to share a link. You can just type your thoughts for that day. You can say, I'm feeling terrible right now. You could post that. You could send that into the ether, and that's fine. But on Instagram, you actually have to attach some sort of image to it, right? And so you pick some sort of image, and it could be, for instance, Trump posted that image, that AI image of him as a king, and you can copy that image, you can post that, and you can say, we don't have a king. We fought off a king in 1776, right? We don't want a king. But ultimately, you have to select a photo, which can make your post more engaging, right? If you have a photo, if you have that visual element, people are going to engage with your post more. So once you have that image, you're going to want to write a caption. A caption, again, same thing like on Facebook. It's just the text that goes along with the image, but you have to understand that the image is 90% of what people are looking at. And the caption really shouldn't be longer than a sentence or two, like a tweet. And so if you have a picture of Trump as a king, you might write, we don't want a king. And then you click share. So once you can also create a story, but the important thing you need to be able to do is you need to be able to share stories, right? I don't expect anyone here to be creating their own the crazy social media content about people, right? This is a post about our Assemblywoman, Alexis Gill. And you can see this is from the Montclair Dems. And there's this little share icon here. And we've seen this before on Facebook. It's like a little folded paper plane. And so when you're scrolling on Instagram, you're going to see this little paper plane. When you're scrolling on TikTok, or I should say Facebook, you're going to see this little paper plane. And if you click on it, it's going to pull up a share screen. And so in this example, here's a little pop-up. People you might want to share the post to will pop up here, right? If you want to send the post to your friend or something like that, but you probably want to send the post to your followers. And so there's an option at the bottom left here that says story, right? Share to your story. And so if you find a post that you like, that you want to share with more people, you find it, you click that little paper plane looking thing, and then you click add to story. And as soon as you click add to story, it might let you format it if you want to move it around, but you just add it to your story and you click post. And that is an important and a very useful thing about Instagram, is that because it's all and because there's very little text, you can chew through so much more content than Facebook. And on Facebook, if you want to get through content, you have to actually read it, right? I mean, terrible, right? We have to read, oh my God. But on Instagram, you don't have to read. It's just images. And so if people want to read, they can, but it allows them to digest content quickly. So you found this useful post here from the Mako Dems, you share it to your story, and now other people will get it. And so that's a very important feature about Instagram. Okay, so let's move on to following accounts. I talked in the beginning about how social media is very useful because of the network effects, because you can reach so many people so quickly. And this is something that would be unheard of 20 years ago. And so there's a very important step that you have to take during your training, and that's to follow important accounts. So we have some links for you. We have Tomas is going to put in some links about the Montclair Dems on Facebook, on Instagram. We also have links for the Jersey for Democrats on Facebook. So please follow all of those. And once you follow them, you'll be getting this content in your feed. Sharing posts in Instagram still requires a third-party app. Maybe I'm not. We'll get to that later, and I'm not. But you should just be able to do it right through the app. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Montclair Dems Instagram. Please, if you have an Instagram account, please follow us on Instagram. Be sharing the Facebook page too. There we go. Okay, yes. And so once you follow these accounts, and once you tell Instagram, once you tell Facebook what kind of content you like, oh, this person follows all the Montclair Democratic accounts, they must like Democratic content, and it will start serving you more content. And then you will pick through that. You'll say, oh, this is good. I'm going to share this to my story. Or if you're on Facebook, you'll say, oh, this is a good post. I'm going to share this onto my Facebook. And so again, just make sure you're all following those accounts. So all those links there, Montclair Dems on Instagram and Facebook, phenomenal. Yeah, so make sure you're following those. Tomas, if you can put in the Jersey for Democrats too. And then if you can put in the chairman of the Montclair Democratic Party is Brendan Gill. And so we'll be putting his Facebook on there too. And he puts out tons of content that you can share. Again, just amplifying our elected leaders' support on social media is very important. So make sure everyone is following those accounts. And again, follow your own accounts, follow your friends, follow your neighbors. But these are going to be the accounts that are going to generate a lot of content. Okay, let's get on to something a little more complicated, and that is messaging. So you can talk directly with us at any time through the message feature on Facebook and Instagram. And you can talk with anyone at any time, really, with the messaging feature on Facebook and Instagram. You know, if you see a long lost friend that you went to high school with and you haven't connected with in 40 years, you find them on Facebook, you can talk to them right then and there at any time. I mean, they might not respond, but you know, the theory is there. And so that is a crucial part of social media, is the fact that you can message anyone at any time. But you need to know how to access your messages, because you are going to get messages from friends and family and stuff like that. And so you'll notice so this is how you message someone. If you click on their page, there's a little message icon. But if you're on Instagram, if you look at the top right, there'll be a little message icon. You click on that and open your messages. But messaging is very important on social media. Again, this is all about Facebook privacy. Instagram is privacy. Instagram is a little different. Instagram, sometimes you'll become a public account and you don't want to be a public account. Sometimes you'll be a private account and you don't want to be a private account. So just make sure you check that by clicking. You'll see in the top right of your phone screen these three little bars, and that means settings. And then you click on that and it'll open this whole big paragraph. And you see at the top it says settings again. And then one of the settings, third from the top, says privacy. And you click on privacy and it'll open this, and it'll talk about private account. Now, most of you are going to want that off, because you don't want everyone in the world being able to see what you post. So just make sure that's checked off, or make sure that's how you want it to be. Because again, you don't want those, as they were talking about, you don't want those Russian bots to come and find you and ruin your day, right? So it's very important that you have a private account, that that you're only talking with people that you want to talk to, and that you're not getting those trolls. An important thing to note is that if you have a private account, people can't just follow you at will. They have to actually accept your follow request. And you'll get a notification about that. It's not super complicated. But if you are a private account, they're going to have to accept it, which is super helpful. You know, you don't want like a long lost enemy finding you and then friending you. So it's great that it keeps it that way.